Wow, I've never had walk-up music in my entire life. That's new. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tyler. I am one of the co-founders of Missional Labs. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, but just finished my decade in New York City. So I'm a New Yorker in my spirit. This session is designed to be the most engaging, high-energy, climactic session of this whole conference. So lean in. I might even make you move seats later. We'll see how it goes. But this is going to be a really fun session that I hope fills you with hope and imagination for what's possible in the kingdom. Now, I am coming into this conversation not as a technologist or an investor primarily. I'm a missiologist. I'm a sort of theologian practitioner. I've been a pastor. I've been a church planter. I've trained church planters. I've trained leaders. I've been an executive in global missions. My heart is to think deeply about what God is doing in the world and what he might be doing next. And how many of you know that the Great Commission should fill us with courage and fill us with imagination and allow us to take great risks? However, the church often doesn't have a pathway for that. It doesn't often have spaces for that. It doesn't have a layer where experimentation is permissioned and possible. So a big part of our heart is to create an innovation lab for the church. Back, which way are we going here? Green is forward, red is back. There we are. How do we take the New Testament vision? How do we take the biblical imagination as our starting point? Not necessarily taking our cues from capital or secular culture or what the market wants, but what the Holy Spirit wants. How do we create spaces for that? How do we create spaces to close the gap between the gospel and today's world? Who's going to shape the next chapter of mission? A lot of us are here thinking about the future. This is a future-oriented conference and community. So we're thinking about this. If you zoom out, the way that the church engages the world is really in flux right now. A lot of our paradigms, a lot of our models, a lot of our strategies are changing. We live in the most technologically connected era in history, and yet to this day, if every Christian told everybody that they know about Jesus, there would still be billions of people that never hear about Jesus. There are massive unreached contexts, both in our cities and the frontiers of today's world. You might be familiar with kind of the headlines of 20th century mission. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Many of us are in the family trees of these organizations. Many of us probably work for these organizations. What you might not know is that many of them, if not most of them, were all founded in the same 10-year period. They were all founded in the same 10 to 15 years between 1945 and 1960. Highly catalytic. The world had changed. A new world had emerged. A new generation had risen up, and the seeds were planted of massive ministries and movements that shaped the world and evangelized and discipled billions of people. So the obvious question, though, as the world continues to change faster and faster is, who's going to shape 21st century mission? Now, Leslie Newbigin, one of my favorite theologians, said that the development of a truly missionary encounter is the greatest intellectual and practical task facing the church today. So let me just tell you, you're not in the technology business. You're in the missionary encounter business. You are in the translating the gospel into modern culture business through new products and platforms and organizational forms. We have to do the work to uncover what are the idols that are animating the spirit of our world and figure out how to bring the truth of the good news of Jesus into the public square. Keller always said that contextualization isn't telling people what they want to hear. It's telling them something they might not want to hear, but in a way that they can understand and feel the potency of. And so we believe at Missional Labs that we need missional imagination. Right? When I was a kid, my great uncle was a missionary to the Congo. And I remember reading his stories and reading his memoirs as a kid. And that shaped my imagination for what was possible in life and in the world. We need to be filled with an imagination that says that the gospel is good news, the story is true, it is still valid, it is still important, and we need to move out into the world in new ways. Missional imagination, we believe, is the key to the ongoing renewal of the church, the permanent revolution, as Alan Hirsch calls it. And if you've studied church history at all, you know this is true. That in times of decline and in times of stagnation, the Holy Spirit shows up. New leaders emerge, new models are built, new movements are catalyzed. This is true. This has been true in all of church history, and we believe that it's true now. We believe the next decade is really potent. And I tell you this to first not show you a technological story. That's coming in a second. This is a story of the Spirit, moving among people, moving among leaders. All of our ideas and tools and code and technology and all that stuff have to show up in human stories and in human spaces. So Author and innovation thinker Stephen Johnson wrote a book called Where Good Ideas Come From. It's probably the best book on theories of innovation that I've ever read, and I've read a lot of them. And he said that innovation doesn't happen in magical leaps forward. It happens in the exploration of the adjacent possible. New ideas, new tools, new conceptual resources combine to unlock new possibilities at the frontier that's right here, right? So sometimes people get ahead of the adjacent possible and they're innovating too soon, right? You know those people, and it's like the market's going to catch up with that in 10 or 20 years. Most innovation tends to happen right here at the frontier of the adjacent possible. This is why often new technologies and new ideas emerge simultaneously in different places and in different pockets, because there's multiple people working on the next set of problems. And so as the world changes, and as tools change, and as structures change, how do we begin to move into the new set of possibilities for the church? Do I need to switch to this? Do I need to turn this off? Yeah. Here we go. That should do it. Okay. So I don't need to tell you this story. You know this story. But what I want to say is that the church, Big C Church and local church, needs to continue to have a vision and an imagination for sending leaders into the new spaces and places, into the frontiers, into the contexts that says we are okay experimenting and exploring and sandboxing and greenhousing new possibilities for the sake of the gospel. And so at Missional Labs, we ask what is possible now, and how do we make sure that we're exploring that story with a New Testament spirit? The farther you go into the mission field, the more rooted you need to be in the gospel. 100%. And so as we come alongside innovators and entrepreneurs, how do we fill them with the deep awareness and immersion into the story of God so that they can be sent out into the world as missionaries? And so what this looks like a lot of times is exploring the timeless mandate of the church: evangelism, discipleship, church planting, cultural witness, social transformation, in light of the emerging disruptions and possibilities that are at the forefront of our world. For us, this is technology. This is new economic models. This is new cultural attitudes. This is new contexts and generations. This creates the innovation space. This is the exploration space right here. So we are a space for innovators. We want to be a place where people that are motivated by the gospel can move out into what's possible, can move out into what's next, and build together. If I had more time, I would tell you about Laura Lee in New York developing new models of discipling early career women that are moving into New York City. I could tell you about Leo, some of you know him, thinking through how AI integrates with our personalized journeys through Scripture. I could tell you about The Way, the largest digital youth ministry in the UK, doing new media approaches to evangelism. I could tell you about Stream Studio, doing long-form social media content, helping people far from God find hope again in the story of Jesus. We do a really simple model: discover, design, build. We need to find and activate new leaders. We need to help them design and develop new innovative approaches to mission and ministry. And we need to help them find the capital and the resources they need to keep going. So we do this through workshops. We do this through cohorts, which is what you're going to experience here. This is one of our cohorts. We've been together for about 12 weeks doing intensive work, which Amar is going to tell you about quickly. And then we take our best projects into a more venture-intensive fellowship environment to really help them build and scale. Our platform is built on deep spiritual formation and leadership, deep strategy to help you build something real and meaningful, peer community, both locally and around the world, and then access to the capital and the networks that you need. We're a deeply mentor-driven organization. We pull in the best leaders we can find from around the church, around the missions world, around the business world, around the funding community, and we try to pull them together to bring interdisciplinary insight for our fellows. And we've gotten to work hands-on with about 60 projects in about 8 countries over 3 years. So this represents kind of our emerging community of innovators and pioneers and builders around the world. We see ourselves as building a new type of mission society. Mission societies were the predecessors to mission agencies, communities that came together to say, how do we send leaders into the frontiers of the gospel in the modern world? As historian George Link said, the mission of God is limited because the models by which it can happen have been restricted. So we need a place where new models are possible. And we want to be the sandbox, the greenhouse for that, for the church today. So if you want to get involved with us, missionallabs.co. If you're a builder, come build with us. We'd love to help you. If you're a church, a ministry, a collaborative, a missions organization, we would love to talk to you about co-creating innovation spaces together. And if you are a Great Commission funder and you want to invest in the front edge of 21st century mission, we would love to talk to you. We think we're the place to do it. So let's talk about these pitches. Amar, come up and help me real quick. Welcome, Amar, everybody.
Sweet. This is awesome. Scott said it very, very well earlier, that entrepreneurship requires a deep level of surrender and consistency and obedience. And so I'm just super, super thankful for each of you that is here in this session and about to go hear from these incredible founders. We spent 10 weeks together. And entrepreneurship is, like I said, very lonely. And so to be able to just be in that space and truly trust the Lord with it all has just been incredible. So scan this QR code. You'll be able to get a quick executive summary of every single pitch that is going to be here in just a moment. And then if you guys could do me a huge favor, I mean, we spent like 4 days together. So at this point, I hope you guys are all friends. Let's stand up. Let's actually play musical chairs. Come sit. Let's fill this up right here in the front. And yeah, let's hear from these fellows. So that'd be great. Yeah.
Come on down. We are going to make you move. We're going to engage with all these fellows. Come on down. Let's get into these 3 sections right here. We're going to make this fun. Right here. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it. Yeah, you are exactly in the right section. The other thing I'm going to say is, as you're listening, we want you to cheer for these folks. We want you to come alongside them. Cheer after every pitch. Give them yeses. You guys know the thing where preachers get insecure and they're like, can I get an amen? Like, let's do some of that. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So we're getting in these 3 sections, guys. I'm not joking. Let's do it. Come on. We're doing it. And we are going to go in on these fellows to bless and to support and to be inspired by what they're doing. So, and with that said, and by the way, this is your last chance to click the QR code. So if you want the executive summaries, that's where they are. That's going to tell you their business model, their about us, their URL. This is how you connect. Last thing I'll say is, when we do our coaching and someone's pitching in our community, just internally, we always answer 3 questions. We say, what did you love? What questions did you have? And who should you talk to? Connections, resources. So as you're listening to these pitches, if you want to know how to engage, answer those 3 questions for yourself for every pitch. What did you love? What questions did you have? Who should they talk to? And then maybe you'll have a chance to have a conversation with some of these fellows afterwards. Is that cool?
Love it.
Anything else?
Let's go.
Here we go. Okay, first up, and by the way, these are running straight through. So first up is Jake and the Apologist Project. Let's go, Jake. Use this. Okay.
Everybody?
You need this. Put that down there and use this.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Jake Carlson. I'm the founder of the Apologist Project. A little bit about me. I've had a 25-year career in software development. I've worked in a lot of startups as well as big tech companies like Apple and Oracle. I'm also a Colson Fellow. Are there any other Colson Fellows out here in the crowd? Raise your hand. Oh, not too many. Bummer. Check it out. All right. So the Apologist Project is a force multiplier for global missions. I grew up as a missionary kid in China, and I saw firsthand that the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. I shouldn't need to tell this group how important digital missions is and how important digital strategy is, because you've heard plenty of talks about that this week. So I want to focus on how we bridge the gap in digital missions to seek and save the lost in digital spaces. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So, like I said, growing up in China, I saw that there was a dire need for frontline workers, and I've spoken to many missional organizations who are inundated with unvetted online engagement, and they could really use a 24/7 solution to vet seekers and also help them prioritize seekers who are really, truly seeking. So, the Apologist Project builds custom, white-labeled conversational agents for evangelism and apologetics. We specifically target that segment. We're not for church administration. We're specifically geared toward evangelism and apologetics, and we've designed the entire system purposely around that use case. All right, so here what you're seeing is an example of one of our chatbots. We support 192 languages, which is about quadruple what most of the frontier models support through our real-time translation module. We also support up to 30 different models, both open source and commercial. You can kind of pick and choose. And what we do is we come alongside missional organizations to help them build conversational agents, and they get to decide how to engage the people that they're trying to reach. They get to decide what materials to push to the user. They get to decide when to hand off to a human being, because that's vitally important for this. Here's an example in Arabic. This one happens to be using the DeepSeek R1 reasoning model to provide culturally sensitive but also biblically faithful responses to users. And in this example right here, you can see we have the banner here of promoting the Chosen TV program for Arabic users to go ahead and watch that. So that spot there at the end of the response is completely customizable. We track every engagement that happens there, but we also allow missional organizations to have their own tracking as well in place if needed. There we go. So far it's going pretty well. We have engagement from 116 countries worldwide. In fact, one of the top user bases is in Indonesia, and I don't know anybody in Indonesia, so that's all organic through our advertising and word of mouth. We've experienced 60% month-over-month growth for the last 3 months. Yep, up and to the right, you see it. Hopefully we can sustain that, but yeah, it's going pretty well. And we've also partnered with various ministries to get their content so that the users can draw on that content in the responses, the conversational AIs can draw on that content in the responses, and all sources are cited to promote transparency to the user. All right, so one last point, and then I'll close. Our mantra is meet them where they are. That can mean geographically, right, in the world. That can mean where they are on their spiritual journey. But we believe it also means where people are spending their time. They're spending their time online, and we need to meet them there. All right, so how can you help? You can certainly pray for us. We need as much prayer as possible. You can connect us with Great Commission organizations. We'd love to talk to you if you're interested in using our tech to augment your digital strategy. And if you're interested in being a financial partner or know somebody who might be, please contact us. This QR code will give you my contact information. And then I'll just close with one point here. God has ordained this moment in history for using AI for furthering his kingdom. We need to be bold, and we should not be like the servant who buried his talent in the ground. Thank you.
How's everyone doing? Oh, that's loud. Sorry. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan. I'm excited to be here today alongside my partner, TJ, to introduce you guys to Atrium AI. It's a product we believe that will definitely revolutionize how churches view and engage the members of their communities while assisting them in sustaining some growth. Churches today face a critical moment. According to Pine Top, roughly 3,700 churches are expected to close their doors each year. Even more alarming is by the year 2050, over 40 million young people raised in a Christian household are expected to walk away from their faith. The largest generational gap we've seen in American history. We also know that many people have turned to online church, and while there are some benefits to that, the local church is the only institution that Jesus ever built. So without it, we're losing something irreplaceable. So how do we stop this, right? How do we help churches not just reach and engage the members of their communities, but survive and thrive in this changing environment? This is where Atrium comes in. Unlike other church management platforms where people are just another record in a database, we take a different approach to that. We assemble a unique profile based off of each individual of that church's congregation. We leverage deep data analytics and automated attendance tracking to build this entire profile for churches to really understand and engage the members of their community. So at the core of our mission is that every individual matters, right? Like every person of that community, of that church, the big C, the little c, everyone matters. So You're probably also familiar with the parable, Matthew chapter 18 parable about the shepherd leaving the 99 to find the one, right? So the problem with this is churches right now don't have the proper tools or the understanding on how to properly engage and identify and really learn about the members of their community. So we've built this platform based off of this team. TJ, my partner, has spent his entire career building and scaling successful startups. Myself, spent over 15 years in the United States military, focusing on software development, intelligence, and a ton of other stuff we can't get into here. And then Kai, our lead developer, he specializes in AI, along with some data analytics. And together we've built a platform that will truly revolutionize how churches view members of their congregation and help encourage the outreach and engagement for each church. So our business model is pretty cool. We recently introduced Atrium to over 3,000 church leaders a few months back at the C3 Leadership Conference here in Dallas, where we were able to generate over 100 highly qualified leads from over 3,000 church leaders in the industry, right? We're really trying to get the feedback and ultimately grow what we're doing and the impact of what our product can solve. We are also running digital marketing campaigns that are really targeting churches that need this platform the most, which is, we're seeing some great movements from that. We have a pretty big list of churches wanting to kind of grow with this. Our business model is super strong right now. Our early tests show that a customer acquisition cost to be just under $200 with a payback period of about 6 months, so that's pretty good, with an estimated lifetime value of 27 to 1. So it's definitely something we're building, a highly profitable and scalable solution, but at the core of it, we're ultimately trying to give churches the tools that they've never had before to encounter and engage and sustain that growth that their communities are desperately needing. So I invite everyone to, I'm sure you're gonna have a ton of questions, and I'm sure I'd love to get into some features, but if this vision resonates with you at all, we'd love to connect. Scan the QR code above. Atrium is a first of its kind, really AI-powered platform built for churches. It's not another reporting tool. It's real-time analytics to help engage and grow with the communities that the churches are serving. We seamlessly integrate with multiple CHMSs and other tithing platforms to drastically increase the engagement, the generosity, and ultimately the outreach for churches to continue that growth. Currently, we're seeking about $250,000 in funding. This will help us expand our team, improve our tech stack, and ultimately get this product into the hands of the people that need it the most. So we'd love to connect. If this vision resonates with you at all, please connect, scan the QR code. You'll get contact information and then some product demos so where you can really kind of work together to see how we can further the kingdom and bring this to the people that ultimately can use it the best. So that's all I have. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for the attention, and I'll pass it off to Deji.
Hi everyone, my name's Deji. I've come from London to introduce ChurchBrain. ChurchBrain is an AI-powered church and event discovery platform designed to connect Christians and faith curious into community. As we start, I'd like you all to cast your mind back to the process of trying to find a church. How many attempts did it take you? 2, 3, maybe more? I imagine the process went something like this. Scrolling through pages of Google search results, looking at outdated church finder websites, and perhaps you made it to going into the churches, but you end up getting fatigued being quite disappointed with the churches that you found. Ultimately, finding community is hard. Events are scattered. It's often unclear what you're looking for when you're looking for churches, and life is already full of time-consuming things. And biggest of all, there's so many options. If we look at research, it suggests that 30% of people end up stop searching altogether when there are too many options. So this means that we end up with Christians disengaging from the faith, becoming more lonely, and ultimately growing churches not capitalizing on their growth potential. So the three key issues that we see at heart here are: how do we stop the process of finding churches being overwhelming? How do we centralize this onto a single platform? And then finally, how do we make sure that people who are looking for churches are well informed? Well, the solution: ChurchBrain. ChurchBrain is your AI-powered, knowledgeable friend. Using conversational AI and guided prompts, ChurchBrain understands your spiritual needs and your journey and directs you to churches using matchmaking algorithms that fit where you are in your spiritual journey. But the benefits of ChurchBrain aren't just limited to the individual. They also help church organizations and Christian event organizers through a centralized platform, which means they connect directly to their community. But not only that, as we gain more users, ChurchBrain looks to understand the pain points and the problems associated with finding community. This means we get a whole database of invaluable insights which church can use to strategically drive their reach, their engagement, and visibility. So I've told you the solution. Here's how we're going to achieve it. So right now, we're focusing on 18 to 35-year-old demographic. That's the demographic where we see the most change and movement in people's lives, whether it be moving to universities, changing houses, or changing careers. We've already started engaging with active users through social media platforms such as WhatsApp and Instagram. We've been taking surveys at big Christian events and mapping out the landscape of churches and events throughout London. The next stage that we're looking at is interacting with partners. We want to get Christian organizations and churches involved in shaping the app. And then finally, we're looking to launch a pilot in London, going to showcase the app to where the users are at the biggest events and church conferences. So our journey starts in London, but our vision is global. So here's how you can help us. So perhaps you are a tech builder with experience in AI and cloud technologies. Perhaps you are a storyteller who's able to amplify our vision. Or maybe a Christian organization looking to understand more about how to engage with community. We'd love you to connect with us at the email there, church.locate@gmail.com, or scan the QR code where you can also find a demo of the app. Thank you.
Okay, entrepreneurs never satisfied with their environment. Okay, good morning. I was trying not to use a handheld. I talk with my hands, so this is hard. Good morning. My name is Dr. Brian Curry. I'm a neuroscientist and physicist. And today, I'm joined with my co-founder, Barbara Curry, a financial manager. Together, we've successfully created multiple tech companies. In fact, that's all right. In fact, this is a picture of us moving into one of our first buildings. But today I want to talk to you about our new adventure, Sarah, which is a set of... Okay. There we go. Oh, now I'm going to have to shout. All right. But today I want to talk to you and introduce you to Sarah, which is a set of emotionally intelligent tools built on the philosophy if something really matters, it elicits emotions. With the creation of such powerful tools, though, we needed to decide where were we going to use those first. So we looked to church members that are not flourishing or those that are in trouble of not flourishing. According to a 23 Gallup poll, almost a quarter of the world feels lonely. And the Barna data is not much more encouraging. Today, young people are silently struggling. They're emotionally overwhelmed, they're spiritually isolated, and they don't know where to turn. They open up their Bible apps, their prayer journals, and devotional tools, but often, no one really knows how they're doing. They hide it well, until one night, they consider giving everything up. But that's where Sarah comes in. What if your apps didn't just share content, but could actually understand, communicate, and respond to emotions? Well, that's why we developed Sarah, a group of emotionally intelligent tools that integrate into your app. Based on advanced proprietary machine learning algorithms, these tools are capable of responding to emotions and deliberately influencing human behavior. But what does that look like inside of your app? Imagine creating a conversation that truly felt human, or knowing what your users felt even before they stated it. Have your app learn and respond emotionally and intelligently. Support users with timely nudges and guide change that is personal, positive, and practical. Best of all, Sarah integrates into your app in your workflow easily. We use Anthropic's MCP open standards to secure two-way communication between your platform and Sarah. But as we go to market, you might be asking, what is Sarah's competitive advantage? Well, there are many theories of emotions out there. Some of them date back as far as the 1960s, and many of them are coming out of China today. And these theories have merit, but they base emotions on rational explanations, such as biological needs or adapting to nature. However, being fashioned in the image of God, we know emotions are more than simply brain-generated constructs. That's why Sarah's effective computing is rooted in faith, separating us from our competition on a fundamental level. So we're excited to introduce Sarah at Missional AI Labs. We know building what you're building actually matters, so we know emotional intelligence matters inside of your tools. So we're interested in hearing from you. We need to learn more about your customers' pain points. Maybe it's a mentor who's struggling with the right words, or a user that's battling with a personal battle. So please take a picture of the screen, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you, because together we can build solutions for a world where those struggling silently can now be heard. So we build. Thank you and peace.
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm here to talk to you today about live AI. Picture this with me. Church websites are a lot like Chick-fil-A on Sunday. When you're hungry for them, when you really crave them, the doors are completely shut and they're closed. Well, that's what it's like for a lot of visitors that visit church websites, especially in crisis. They come to your website dealing with all sorts of problems. They're dealing with divorce. They're dealing with problems like job loss. They're questioning their purpose. They come looking for hope, and all we have to offer them is join us Sunday. Live AI meets people where they're at, every day, everywhere online. And we're on a mission, not just to help churches, help people welcome people in, but also to help people stay. And so before we created the solution, I lived the problem. Here's me. I'm the oldest of 4 brothers, and my mom there, and as you can tell, there's no dad in the picture. But a local pastor, he saw me. He connected with me. He mentored me. And that totally changed the trajectory of my life. That led me go down the path of being in the pastoral ministry for 14 years. And as a pastor, I lived this problem of being under the suffocating pressure of trying to prepare for another Sunday, when all I really wanted to do deep down in my heart was to help people live for Jesus on Monday. And I realized that I wasn't the only one having the problem. There are churches all over the world that are having the same issue. And there's three groups of people that are having this issue. And we're being bombarded on three fronts. Let's talk about the first one, the digital front door. Less and less people are coming for the first time to church. On the back door, members are quietly leaving the church and showing signs of disengagement early when a pastor could have lovingly intervened and stopped them from leaving the church. In the middle of all this, pastors, they're burning out because they're discouraged, they're disheartened by people that they poured their lives into, and then all of a sudden they just leave the church. Imagine a pastor that's trying to watch the front door, trying to guard the back door, and in the center of it all, he's just trying to care for the people that's in his church. But what if a church didn't have to do this all alone? Live AI turns websites into 24/7 ministry centers. If you know how to copy and paste, then you can launch your AI in just 5 minutes. And it learns your voice, it scans your website, it can intake your sermons and speak and respond just like a ministry partner would. And Jason Robertson, who is the vice president of operations at North Point and a trusted mentor and advisor of mine, he says he loves how Live AI welcomes every visitor with "How can we help you today?" Not "See you Sunday." So what does this look like in the real world? Friendship Church and the senior pastors, Justin Lester, and I think he was here, they saw in just a month 300 chats. We're seeing churches 2 to 3 times increase their Sunday guests 2 to 3 times because we're turning click-throughs into walkthroughs. One church simply added a button that said "Need food," and they saw a surge in people requesting without shame the food and the resources and the help that they needed. And these stories are just getting started. As we continue to build a momentum, we are co-hosting an AI on an Easter workshop next week with a 7-time book author and mentor and advisor of mine, Will Mancini. He's a church strategist. And we're inviting over 12,000 church leaders to be a part of that. My other advisors are Rob Elder at Mercy Road in Indiana, or Sam Song, who previously worked at Saddleback Church. And so how can we get involved? I'd love to invite you right now to take a picture of this screen. I'd love to connect with you. And if you're watching online or if you're watching this later on, we'd love to connect with you as well or have a conversation afterwards. Are you a strategic partner that can help us take this to the next level? I'd love to chat with you. Are you a kingdom connector where you know of a lot of churches, or maybe even just your church, where this could help elevate the level of your website? Are you an integrations advisor, and you know how to take like these APIs and help integrate with other platforms, or take our tech stack and scale it? We need you. Imagine how glorious it would be to have Chick-fil-A on Sunday. That's what we're doing for churches online, and we'd love to partner with you to make this happen. Live AI, let's unleash every church to be real, to be honest, to be personal, and to be live every day, everywhere. Thank you.
Well, good morning. My name is Ryan, and I was going to share a story with you, but my wife is involved, and I ran it by her. I said, "Hey, babe, what do you think of this story? It's powerful. It's going to land." And she said, "Please don't share that." So I'm going to pivot, as startups and husbands do from time to time, and I'll share with you this. So 15 years ago, my wife and I found ourselves at a dinner table. And 3 other couples who we didn't know approached us and sat down, and she and I looked at each other and we thought, I mean, we need friends. We didn't have any at that time. We'd moved from another city. We're newlyweds. but we thought, I don't know if this is going to work. Our church in Dallas, as it happens, had connected us in a life group for newlyweds. And we were skeptical at first, but as the weeks and the months and the years went by, those couples became some of our closest friends, even to this day. And you may not have an experience like that. You may not have close friends. But if you've moved to a new city, taken a new job, you know that isolation is a real thing. It's damaging. And so that's why we are focused on what we believe is the number one isolated group, at least in this country, and that's young men. Specifically, we want to help young Christian men together, connect them together so they can build meaningful friendships and thrive in community through real-life connections. We are on a mission to eliminate isolation among young Christian men. But this is life for young Christian men today. A guy walks into church, he sits down, he's alone, no one really sees him, and he leaves. Another scrolls through social media. He's surrounded by thousands of friends, but he feels unseen, unheard. The thing is, they don't want to be isolated. They want friendship. They just don't know where to start. The truth is, isolation is killing young men. 2 out of 3 say they don't have a close friend, depending on the data that you look at. That causes them to skip church or quit it altogether. And that leads to a whole host of problems, including, most notably, depression, abuse, suicide. So we have built a redemptive AI friendship matchmaking tool to connect young Christian men together with those that live right around them over coffee, basketball, dinner, church, and more. We're powered by a friendship matchmaking platform along 57 dimensions, organized into 3 key categories: psychographic data, social psychology, and yes, biblical community, because we see very clearly the Bible has a lot to say about how we do life with people. Now, the market is huge. There's an opportunity here. There's 19 million young Christian men looking for deeper friendships. Our goal is to connect 10,000 of them by the end of 2025. And how are we going to do that? Well, our path to growth is simple. We build a magical user experience first and foremost. Secondly, form key partnerships. And then third, build a premium membership experience with a recurring revenue stream. And we've done some of that with other ventures in the past, and that's why our team is ready to make this happen. We have award-winning and exited founders. I have a couple of startup failures under my belt too. Expertise in product, community, and engineering. And so we just have 2 asks. The first one, we invite you to scan the QR code and go sign up for our wait list so that our soon-to-be released private beta, when it's ready, we'll let you know. And secondly, the second ask is we're looking for groups of young men to test this with. And by groups, I mean small groups, no larger than 50 to 100. So if you have any connections there, we would love to for you to reach out with us, contact us. And if you are passionate about transforming the young men in this country, then let's build real community together. Thank you.
I stand before you all today as the personification of resilience. You see, my loctician 2 weeks ago gave me a style in my hair that looked amazing while I was on vacation with my family. However, jumping off of one plane, jumping on another to get here and taking my style out of my hair between trips, what I didn't know is that taking that style down would leave me in a place of looking like who did it and what for. Now, I can smile about it today, but in a real way, all week I've been facing insecurities. The truth of the matter is, I've been blessed in my life with Christian mentors who've walked alongside me to help me build skills like self-awareness, confidence, and yes, resilience. Resilience offers me that ability to bounce back even when I don't feel 100%. Unfortunately, too many young people from my beloved Chicago do not have Christian role models and figures in their lives helping to build them up in the way that I was nurtured. And since that's the case, many of them are then exposed to abysmal life dynamics. Friends, I am Damian Howard. I am an MDiv. I am a special education teacher. I'm a lifelong Chicagoan and the founder of SEL Plus. SEL Plus, myself and my team, we're building Selvi, which is a mentoring app that is going to equip churches with the opportunity to provide mentor to young people in their ministries and in their surrounding communities. Let me tell you all this. Young people are struggling. 40% of Black students in Illinois, my state, are chronically absent. We've also come to learn that approximately there's a 400-to-1 ratio of students to counselors across the United States. And lastly, it was staggering for us to learn that if a student gets a mentor, they are 30 to 50% less likely to drop out of school. When we think of these supposed at-risk young people, what I am amazed by is that in many instances, these young people are the grandkids, they are the nephews, they're the kinfolk of adults who are sitting in pews every Sunday morning, which tells me, church, that we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to think of this app not just for the purpose of mentorship, but for discipleship, and might it even spur on evangelism in our local context. So I love the opportunity that I'm going to get to actually help you all understand what Selvi's all about. Selvi, you see that picture there. It's a mobile app that is AI enabled and is also used to train mentors. Selvi, y'all, does three things. Number one, it has individualized social and emotional learning plans for every mentee. So these plans are trauma informed and they're also faith friendly as it pertains to the curriculum that feeds these plans. Secondly, Selvi has embedded mentor training. And I love the fact that this mentor training provides real-time video resources for mentors, as well as a chat that is responsive for mentor needs in real time. And then lastly, you all see that dashboard there on the screen. Not only will mentors be able to real-time understand what are the academic, behavioral, and emotional needs that their mentees have. In addition to that, churches now have quantifiable ways to see what impact and transformation is occurring based on them utilizing this app. Now, what I want to tell you all with all of the Chicago swag that I can muster up is that we're not true to this, y'all. We're not new to this. Come on, somebody finish it. We are true to this. We've been doing this work since 2019, partnering with over 120 schools in the city of Chicago, partnering with 44 churches that are not just providing mentorship, but critical wraparound support to help bring transformation to young people in our city. Our three primary client personas to date have been, one, citywide faith movement and or churches that want to see youth transformation take off at scale in their regional areas. Number two, secular nonprofits that serve youth like Boys and Girls Club and or My Brother's Keeper. And then thirdly, Christian schools and or charter networks, once more, that are seeing the benefit of having mentor figures in their spaces. What I also appreciate is that as we gain more traction with those initial personas, in time, we're going to have a B2C strategy that's going to allow us to put this in the hands of parents and homeschoolers, because everybody in this room can resonate with the fact that the parent is the primary mentor in the lives of young people. I thought I was going to get an amen or head nod or something at that point. So let me close with this, y'all. There are three ways everybody in this room has the ability to partner with us by clicking this QR code today. I'm like a call and response type of dude. Somebody say today. I'm over time. Help us to launch this product. If y'all want to get this in your community, let's get it on. Financial advisors, go-to-market strategists, let's get it on. Connectors, please reach out to us. I, again, am Damian Howard. Thank you all so much for your time. Peace out.
Good afternoon. Who in the room is a parent or hopes to be a parent? Amazing. My name is Matt, and I'm the founder of Spark. And we're on a mission to equip parents just like you all to spark organic moments that grow lasting faith in their kids' lives. This is what discipleship looks like in many families today. A dad, a daughter, inches apart, yet miles away. Her eyes say it all. See me, lead me. And he wants to, but he just doesn't know how. Years later, she finally says it. Dad, I just don't believe this anymore. And it hits him hard because he realizes all the moments that he had to shape her faith quietly slipped away. And this is even heavier when you realize this. Parents are the single most influential voice in their children adopting the Christian faith, more than pastors, more than youth groups, more than any other influence. And I know this is true because I've lived it. My mom was that voice for me in my life. I still remember when I was 12, anxious before a baseball game, before I was about to pitch against the best team in the league. And in my snack bag, a handwritten note from my mom, which said, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you." After reading that note, I felt a sense of peace and confidence overwhelm me. And throughout the rest of the game, anytime I felt nerves on the mound, I would just recite that verse in my mind. And my mom still invests in my spiritual development today. As you can see from the message I got from her this week, that says she's praying for this exact presentation that I'm giving you right now. But my story is the exception, not the norm. Over 90% of parents don't have a spiritual development plan in place for their children, which makes this a massive problem. We're talking about 58 million parents in the US alone who are willing, yet unprepared. And the current resources to help parents don't meet them where they're at. Parents are busy, and their kids' needs evolve over time. Yet the sea of content available to them are overwhelming, static, and don't hold them accountable to take action. This is where Spark can help. Spark is a parenting co-pilot that makes forming your child's faith simple, personalized, and actionable, with no prep required. Think of it as a Duolingo for developing your child's faith. With a focus first on conversations, parents get delivered daily prompts to spark organic faith conversations with their kids, meeting them where they're at, based on their age and season of life that they're in. As parents engage with their kids in real life, they can share with Spark new topics or challenges to get fresh conversation starters and actionable nudges in seconds. And what makes this different than ChatGPT is as you use Spark, it captures the moments of spiritual growth in your child as you turn everyday moments into eternal ones so that you can remember what God has done in their life. Since launching our private beta, we've seen a 60% paid conversion rate. And parents have already been telling us that the product is easy to use on the go, giving them an actionable game plan that they can execute in the flow of life without having to carve out extra time, which they don't have. Our team has experienced blending content and technology to drive personal growth. I've led teams to build people development products, and I'm advised by Aaron Sullivan, board chair at Axis, a former executive at Bible Project, and a dad of 2 daughters. Now, I want to give you all the opportunity to join us in forming lasting faith in the next generation. Please scan the QR code on the screen to get involved in 3 ways. Are you a technologist? Come build with us. Are you an investor or an influencer of Christian parents? Partner with us financially or help us distribute Spark to your audience. And are you a Christian parent? Join our private beta. If you want to contact me further, please take a photo of my contact information on the screen and reach out. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Okay, I want you to put on your imagining caps. That's what my elementary school teacher used to say. Imagine that you are Mama Salome. You are translating the Bible for your community in northern Zambia. You don't really know how to read, or at least you haven't really tried to read since you left elementary school about 40 years ago, but you feel like you have the best job in the whole world. You have the privilege of creating an oral translation of the Bible into your language for your community to hear God speaking to them for the first time. As you head into work this morning, you feel blessed and super excited because you can continue to translate the book of Matthew into your language. But then you remember yesterday, and all the frustration comes flooding back. All the times that you had to stop and re-record because a car drove past, or someone shouted from the other side of the road, or a rooster crowed in the background of your recording. You remember the fact that after much prayer and discussion, your team decided that they actually have a better word to use for the concept of heaven. Which is great, except that means you now have to go back and re-record all of those sections of scripture that you've already done. And you're also a little bit afraid because your voice is going to be in the recording. And that could lead to you being a target for people from outside your area who are trying to prevent your church from distributing the Bible recordings. There are many people like Mama Salome around the world who have the passion to produce oral audio Bibles in their own language. And there are hundreds of oral Bible translation projects moving forwards. But there are challenges. Projects are often in difficult locations without stable electricity or quiet recording studios. In my experience in Africa, there are places with electricity, there are quiet places, but they don't often intersect. Editing audio is a challenge. Typically, re-recording something, if you make a change, you have to re-record entire sections. And for many, the joy of publication is tinged with the apprehension of knowing that their life may be in danger because their voice is on that recording. And AI can be a great solution, but many of these languages are the kind of languages that typically have no writing system, no data with which to train AI models, meaning that they're underserved by existing AI tools. So our vision as the SIL AI capability team is to see people like Mama Salome having their frustrations and their technical barriers removed so that they can spend as much time as possible focusing on the deep theological translation, Bible translation issues for their language community. We want Mama Salome heading to work in the morning, thinking about how to translate the concepts of grace, forgiveness, hope, eternal life into her language, not wondering whether she needs to go back and re-record yesterday's section where the rooster crowed in the background. So that's why we've developed Aero, AI enhancements responsive to orality. There are over 100 oral Bible translation projects already having access to the noise removal, voice changing, and speech-to-text features through Aero without even leaving their normal workflow, because our API is seamlessly integrated into the Audio Project Manager software application that they're already using for their translation projects. And in the coming months, we would love to expand that functionality to train more speech-to-text models beyond the thousands in the current model, rolling out the audio find and replace feature, and integrating with more translation software applications that people are using for their translation projects. And so in order to do this, we're looking for others to join with us in raising $250,000 of funding, looking for test users to tell us what are we missing, what extra features could we add, what do we need to improve to better serve your needs. And we'd love for you to join us, to join with Mama Salome and many hundreds of other people like her around the world. And I just think there are so many heroes in God's kingdom, people who we may never hear about, who are faithfully serving God through difficult and often dangerous situations. And our vision as the SIL AI team is to come alongside these people, to serve them often silently behind the scenes so that their translations just work. We want them to spend as little time as possible wrestling with the tech challenges so that they can be totally focused on creating the first ever recordings in their language for God's words to speak to them as a community. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeff Peterson. I am the co-founder and CEO of WAHA, which is a missional tech nonprofit. I spent 7 years in North Africa making disciples among Muslims, where we ran digital campaigns that shared the gospel with over 5 million North Africans. The response was overwhelming. So many people wanted to know more about Jesus. So to meet that need, my teammate and I made WAHA. It's a discovery Bible study app. There's a problem in modern missions. Imagine with me if every single believer on the earth shared the gospel with every single person they knew, there would still be 3.2 billion people who will have no one to tell them about Jesus. Modern missions isn't failing, but it's not scaling. We're barely keeping up with the birth rate. And that's why we built WAHA. WAHA helps multiplying groups of disciples start new groups using our simple, reproducible, scalable app. Here's how it works. You gather a group, you select a lesson, and the app facilitates a lesson, a discovery Bible study for your group to discuss. It's all based on the Bible. There's no extra biblical content. Now, let me bring you in on a phenomenon happening right now in the world of modern missions. It's incredible. It's way bigger than our app. In unreached places all over the earth, new disciples are starting new groups of new disciples, which are starting new groups to new disciples. It's amazing. And these multiplying groups of disciples are planting millions of underground churches, meaning in homes, cafes, parks. I'm sure many of you have heard, Iran has the fastest growing church in the world. When these groups multiply to the fourth generation or beyond, they're classified as a movement. According to the organization 2414, there's around 2,000 of these movements, encompassing 1% of the global population. Many times, these movements are doing something called a discovery Bible study. WAHA makes it really easy to facilitate a discovery Bible study. We equip believers, missions organizations, and churches to multiply disciples simply and reproducibly. So here's the result. To date, we've seen over 42,000 discovery Bible studies facilitated in over 150 countries and 40 languages. Each one of these dots that you see on the screen is not a download. It's not even an open. It is a group of 3 to 20 people doing a discovery Bible study. And these are real people. Yeah, amen. Let me tell you a story. For 3 nights in a row, Maya, a Sudanese Muslim, has a dream. In this dream, she sees this glowing man. He has a book in his hand and hands it to Maya and says, Maya, this book is going to change your life and many people's lives. She takes the book in the dream and she reads Bible, and then the dream ends. On the 3rd night of having this dream, she comes into the common living room of her apartment and she sees this book on the coffee table and she reads Bible. This kicks off a season of her desperately wanting to know, what is the Bible? Who is Jesus? She gets connected with 2 of my friends who are missionaries. They start doing discovery Bible studies with Maya. Fast forward today, she's sharing with everyone she knows. She's baptized, and she started dozens of groups all over the Middle East and North Africa. All of them are doing discovery Bible studies. Leading missions organizations like Frontiers, OM, YWAM, they're embracing WAHA and using WAHA not because we invented some ministry methodology, but because God's using the Discovery Bible Study, and we just added tech to help accelerate it. Our app is free. It always will be free. We operate 100% by donations. Yet every week, more missionaries in churches are requesting for their languages to be added to our platform. In the next 3 years, here's our goal. We want to go from 40 languages to 100 languages. We want to go from 2,000 monthly meetings to 15,000 monthly meetings. To do this, we need resources. We've raised about $1.5 million so far, and we're trying to raise $4 million in the next 3 years. If you want to have a conversation about how can tech complete the Great Commission, I'd love to chat with you. You can scan that QR code. We're also looking for connections with organizations, Great Commission-minded organizations, missionaries, churches, investors. I'd love to talk to you. Please scan there. Thank you.
Hello, hello. Luke and Jennifer Ritchie with Gravity Jack. We are co-founders and we are delusional. Thank you, Scott, for making that acceptable. We founded Gravity Jack in 2009 on the basis of augmented reality. So we were literally called crazy back then. 2009, App Store came out in 2008. So as soon as you can be doing AR, we were. We've got issued US patents in the space. So we know what it's like to run that vein. We are here today to talk to you about WarTribe of Binyamin. And before we get to that, I just want to lay a little groundwork here where Luke's been coding since he was 14, worked at NASA, did his first AI in Lisp when he was 18, for those who can appreciate that. I come from a long line of attorneys. I run more legal and strategy here at Gravity Jack. We've got a phenomenal leadership team behind us. 3 IPOs, exits, Academy Awards, and actually even Grammys. So before we talk about what our game, WarTribe of Binyamin, is, we want to talk about some major problems that are out there that we all need to be aware of.
I only get one slide because I can't even tie my shoes in 4 minutes. But and I'm actually not going to talk about the language problem. I think actually most people know here. I'm just going to talk about the problem that I'm actually intimately familiar with, and that's just hopelessness. By the end of this year, there will be 3.88 billion kids that don't know Jesus, and then they are going to kill themselves. And I took my life in 2018. There was no medical way for me to survive. God preserved me. In 2019, I met Jesus and became infinitely familiar with love, mercy, and grace. And that's what we want to bring. We're actually going after the kids that aren't reached. It's very different from some of the other products. We're trying to get them through gaming. Of those 3.88 billion, 3.5 billion will be gamers. Our product and solution solves a number of problems through gamification, but this is just the big one. I mean, Pokemon Go, where it was played, which we were involved in, reduced suicide rates 34 to 40% while it was being played because of the mechanics, but they missed some pieces that we shared with them. And so we're doing part 2, essentially.
One more problem that I just want to tack on that many don't know is that if we as Christians are not investing in the gaming environment, we're ceding the ground to the enemy. It's a $450 billion market. It's bigger than movies, sports, and music combined. And the reality is we as Christians are not there. We want to go after Gen A, we want to go after Gen Z. And if we want to do that, we need to be in the gaming space. So our solution to these massive problems is a game, a mobile augmented reality game, iOS, Android. It's a redemptive global game that, again, it's because it's global, we're promoting community and unity through these interactions. We've got questing engines, both digital and real life, where we're going to get players back together, where, we've got the predatory dopamine dump of most games, but what does it look like to do godly dopamine dump, where we're in relationship, we're in community? Like I said, Pokemon Go, when the kids are with each other and together, they enjoyed that. They crave that, and we need to come up with creative ways of getting them back together again. And so this global game also, side note, it's a secular game with very biblical principles woven in and throughout. And so while he didn't touch on the language problems, there's a language aspect to this. So some of the geo-quests in lower economic regions will pop up with a translation opportunity. So players can do translation in-game. They rescue these creatures and they're teaching in their native tongue. We on the back end have an LLM to speak those languages and to speak to these people groups. So we've got some phenomenal partnerships. SIL and Wycliffe will be the experts that they are in translation. So we are this conduit of gathering the data that they so desperately need to create these LLMs. We've established we're delusional. And we sell and we execute, right? I didn't even know these four, and I'm like, this is what we do. We've been selling and executing on the Gravity Jack side, and it's time to sell and execute our own game with WarTribe. We again contributed to Pokemon Go mechanics. We did a casino app that was doing $35 million a month when we handed it off, and that's that predatory stuff that we want to stay away from.
That was pre-Jesus, by the way.
It is true, it's true. But then what does it look like to sell and to market WarTribe? We've got Nolan Bushnell, who is the founder of Atari and father of video games, on our leadership team. Taro Araya, who is CEO of Guama, so he's got 35 million Asia Pacific gamers that we will be, I don't want to say going after, that sounds bad, but we'll be going after. And then we also have some gaming influencers with multiple millions of followers as of now, so we are looking for more that will be a part of this promotion to get it out there. It's actually wholesome gaming where kids are feeling good about themselves. So how can you help? How can you be a part? We are currently raising $3.5 for our V1 release. We've done a regulation crowdfund to get part of the way and build community. But the reality is the Lord told us to fish on the other side of the boat, and that is believers. Games throw off a lot of money, and it'd be so much better if we can keep that funding within the kingdom. Again, if you've got a passion for it, if you're crazy, if you believe in gaming, come talk to us. If you are a gamer influence who wants to be a part of the launch and the push and the promotion, reach out to us as well. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christopher Balcells, and I work as the Director of Technology at Wilber, a nonprofit named after William Wilberforce, who fought to end slavery. And I'm going to start by telling you a bit of my story. From the ages of 9 to 12, I was dropped off at a friend's house. My parents just thought they were regular sleepovers, but they weren't. A friend several years older than I took it upon himself to initiate me. I was forced to watch violent movies, pornography, and I was physically and sexually abused. 1 in 6 men has experienced sexual abuse. And it's my conviction that no man makes it into adulthood without a wounding of his heart. So this wounding, combined with rebellion in my young adult years, led to addictions to pornography, sex, and alcohol. By the age of 25, I was looking for love in the wrong places. And that's when my grandpa stepped in. He loved me. He met with me one-on-one. He shared the love of Jesus with me, and Jesus set me free. At Wilber, we envision a future free from sexual exploitation. But in my brokenness, I turned to sex, and many men do. Among us in this room, Christian men, 70% watch pornography statistically. 75% of the general population do. It's not that different. In 2023, Americans spent $800 million on OnlyFans. And 1 in 5 men in the United States has bought sex in their lifetime. This same survey estimates $5.7 billion is the US commercial sex market for buying sex in person. So it's a big problem, and it's close to home. What are we doing about it? Well, that starts with what we believe. We believe that Jesus is the only path to healing and freedom. We believe that Jesus is the only path to healing and freedom. So we're pursuing the man who buys sex and offering opportunity for him to encounter the light of the world. We do that right now by evangelizing men at the point of demand. One day we want to disciple them. That looks like Google ads and listings put on websites where men go to buy sex. An example is on the screen. Let's create a story worth telling. A phone number's there, they can reach out to us, and they do. We've had 1,600 conversations with men over the past 3 years. Over the past 7 months since the Glue Hackathon, we've had about 150, trialing it with an AI chatbot that leads to a video, and then a conversation with one of us. One of those men, there was one man out of those 150 conversations who reached out wanting transformation. The last 5 years, he's been buying sex about 1 to every 3 weeks, sometimes as many as 3 times a week, and we're the first person he ever told. So you can see an excerpt from there on the screen. A man, 19, his first time buying sex, that's what he said. Didn't have any qualms about it. By the end of the conversation says, you know what, I'm not going to do this. So we want to see 29 more men this year commit to behavioral change. We want to form 2 recovery groups. And in the future, we imagine being a network of men discipling men. But we're just getting started. We could use board members for accountability and wisdom, AI engineers who could give us advice on how to maintain a production quality chatbot, and men who are connected to sexual purity ministries. We think this is an exciting frontier for the gospel. Please join us.
Folks, can we just give it up one more time for the fellows? How do you feel? If you're anything like me, I feel so much hope. It almost creates a longing in me, like I just hope every single one of these projects flourishes, that they become good soil, 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold, like it says in Mark 4. Please interact with them. Send them an email, send an encouragement, send your thoughts, get on their radar, do the QR code thing. It is like so, it takes so much perseverance at this stage. Every step matters. Your interaction with them matters. So as a community, let's come alongside these projects. We're gonna keep doing cohorts like this. So get in touch with me, get in touch with Joshua, get in touch with the Missional AI folks, and let's talk. We wanna continue to build a space where people can bring the dreams that God has put in their heart to life for the good of the world. Thanks.